Hello. Right now I'm recording for our 380 web programming and interface. I will combine actually two parts together. First, we will going to introduce is called React.js. So React.js, I will give you some basic understanding of what is the React.js, some core concept, and then we'll start with some really simple React application. Once we start to work on it, then maybe we'll touch something related to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And we mainly need to make sure the Node.js and NPM installed on the computer. And then maybe you should have the Visual Studio Code using for the website editing. Okay. And what's React.js? So it is a JS library, so built for the user interface, and then it's mainly developed and maintained by the Facebook, we call Meta. And it's mainly is a component-based architecture. So it's a component-based, so everything built as a component. So we need to have some idea related to HTML, but it's not actually the same. Some of them we call it JSX is JavaScript, XML, and then including the state endpoints, and also including some lifecycle methods. That's what we're going to cover later in the lecture. So I'll give you more sample source code. So, and everything start when we install, we will use the npx. Okay, and before we start, because in the last recording I mentioned quickly, jump over is about the Node.js. You may use the official website, so Node.js. So you can download their LTS version, or if you are download let's say I'm using Mac, so by default, and then you can choose the version. Long-term support, LTS stands for long-term support, so it's more stable and with all the framework libraries using. So it's kind of guarantee. Okay, it's easy to use. But if for development, sometimes if you want to use the latest version, then you may choose the latest one and then choose your OS. So it is the recommend. So this one using a method called the NVM. So instead getting the git NVM, and then we install the version. And right here, because since I already installed the NVM, and after you execute and install it, then you will get, okay, so first you may check the NVM version to make sure you get the good version, correct version of NVM. And maybe if I can demonstrate and show you how it works, then like this. Okay, so right now I already executing right here, so I will link to my source. If you didn't have it, then you can copy it to your batch file. Okay, so it will export to your batch file. Then you can make sure you can use the NVM. Okay, so right now I will double check again the NVM version again. This one, of course, is the latest one what I have in this moment. And you can install by default what's the version you want to install, or if we are using NVM, then we can use the ls dash remote. So it will list all the versions. Okay, so it's available to install. Okay, so I'm not going through all the history of the NVM, but also the Node.js. But as you know, once they introduce the Node.js, and then the community introduce launch called IO.js, and because the update is really slow, and later Node.js the community contribute more, and then switch back to Node.js. So it's getting more popular right now. And after you install the NVM and install you using an NVM install, so you can choose the version. Let's say if you want to install the latest one, 23.7, you can hit it because I already installed it. And after you finish complete the installation, and when you type the Node version, Node on test field, so it gives you the version. Okay. And when you point actually install it, but right now I'm using this one. So let's say I want to use the v23.7.0. Let me see what's the current version we are using. Okay, still 3. Since I suppose I already installed it, but I need to switch it back. Okay, and also once you install the Node.js, also called the Node package manager also being installed, and it will pops out. So you will see actually if you want to validate if you install both of them, then you will get the Node version and the npm version is similar right here. So depends on which copy you're using. NVM. If you're using Windows, and then you can try the Windows, and then FSN also you can try to install it. And once you are able to install Node.js, that's like is the starting point. Okay, that's what we need to do for today. And how can we start the React.js? I would like to show you the page React.js. It's like it developed by the Meta that like before called Facebook. And if we need to build a component that page like this, we can build a function and return with the div. For this, I will give all the sample code. You can look at it. And you see the highlighted part like with the H3. So you see some components include the HTML tags, like def, div, and then some like thumbnail, A for the reference, the hyperlink, and then with the like header, paragraph, content, description right here, buttons. So it's really similar, but it just looks not the same. Okay, and then how can we use those functions? Because we can use function to generate the content. So it's more like dynamic generated content. This is how we're going to use. And of course, it's the long project. So after we build the front end, later, of course, we need to submit the data to the backend. But later part of it, I will try to roughly introduce how to build both of like the front end and back end. And in the back end, how to build the API server database. Database will be using NoSQL, MongoDB, and kind of like before the mid of semester. So, and I can give you the project, so you can form a group to work on the project. So then you can like start it earlier. And after the mid of the semester, then I will go back to like all the like front end interface design, and also like for the further like slightly deeper on all the like front end and back end. Okay, so here's the roadmap of it, the lecture. And how can we start the project after we are ready? And also if you want to start, maybe they have some like committees and look at it, or like reference right here. So also it's like we need to build habits, look at the documents, because they always release a new update, and then we have new functions. They will try to introduce different type of things. Okay, and also check the version we are using. And there's some like key concept related to like virtual DOM. So many things included for the lecture, especially for web programming and interface. Actually, it's the big topic, but we try to compress everything within one semester. Actually pretty rushed. So I try to cover most of them, then you can study by yourself. So it's more important. Okay, so kind of like go back to our topic. So how can we start the project? We're using called the npx after you install. So npx create React app and then give the file name. Okay, so let's say right now, let me clean my, okay, let me clean. Okay, and let me switch to the folder. So you can depend on folder. So if you can remember, so right here, so we call it npx create app, and then I call it a week for lab. Okay, here's a project. Okay, so you can create. So it takes some time to install some package necessary libraries. So it takes some time to build in, and including the virtual DOMs. And I already upload. I would like to, okay, when it's installing. So I give you some like sample code, and also the CS file and JS file, so you can download and copy. Okay, and after this post, then I will make the assignment, first assignment available. Actually, I give you the sample code, so refer to the form, and I give you later second part, then you can copy and modify. So you need to like change the form, create your first page. So here would be your first assignment, and right here, and you were able to get it. So you will create the first lab, and I would like to introduce the structure. So open, you can, if you are the VS Code, and we go to the our class right here, and with four right here with four. Okay. Okay. So it's mainly right here. You see the after we build the file, create the folder, then we have the node modules. So here's all the node modules we're going to use maybe later, including the UI or other firmware you need to use. So all those files install, and then the package.json will be the necessary. Here's your project name, and then some like dependency like for production what required. So you will add it to the package, and mainly for public, so will be some like favorite account index, HTML, some logos. If you have some like resources, you can upload to this part, and then mainly is the source. The core, the entry point is the app. Actually it's called the index, but it will load into the app, and app.js will be the so we are not changing the index like for the entry point. So mainly we are working on the app.js and app.css. So right here, start with if we need to import the logo, and then CSS, import the CSS. Okay, and here's the main function right here. We give a function name and return, and here's the depth. Okay, so will be the content. So if you want to start. So after you complete and start, and then you can change the directory, or if you're under the same folder here, then you can just using npm start. So it will try to create a page. Okay, and right now I think like modules are missing, so you get a notification. But right here you will see in here you will get a basic page will be the entry point. So with the app.js, I need to reload it. Okay, and I need to change it. Here will be this how we can start our VA project, start our local host like 3000. Of course, we can change it. If you start multiple, then the host will +1. Like if you have a typical web base, then you have like 3001 like this. Okay, and I give you some example source code related. And as well as here we have some directory like including some static page and source, mainly our source folder, and after we entry is the entry point goes into the application index.js, and then the main components will be right here. Of course, we will add more later. Maybe you need to create some like folder, and maybe for some components when we so once we look at this, so we see the component structure. So that's what they say. Like all this will be compared with the HTML. Like, let's say if you have the regular website, so it would be look like when we do the inspections, and you see the structure. Or sometimes we look at the source. Okay, let me scroll down a little bit. Okay, so actually the whole HTML page will be like including the header, body, script, link, and then some content, right? But for our React project, so it's mainly components, so we part by part, and then we just like combine them together. So here's the idea, and I will give you some like source code. So I will ask you, okay, let's say if we create a new folder, I will new function, replace it and create hello world. So you can copy it, okay. And also next part, after you create hello world, we can import it and return it. Okay, so what are we going to do? Right here, we will just add a new file. Okay, just call hello world. JS. Okay, and I will just copy the source code. So we mainly import from the React and then export. So here's the structure. Okay, so we try to import using React and also the function. So this function name will be going to what we export should be matched, and then export the default is the keyword, and the export is should be matched with it, and then we turn the hello. Okay. So we save the new file. If I want to replace the original one, okay, and how can we do that? So right here, so you see in the maybe main app, and then we replace it called the dev and hello world, and so I will replace the original one, and then but I need to import it, right? So I will delete this one. Okay. So the advantage if using ID, it will check. Okay, something is missing. Okay, it say okay, we're missing the hello world, so we just import from the hello world, and we are not using the logo anymore. So we're doing like this and save. So after we refresh it, then it will change. Okay. Because right now in this moment I think the JS installation caused some error npm. So I need to restore it. So but I'm working on something because the version. But if you're able to get it, then you will get the correct result. Suppose right now it will be the hello world comes up. Okay. So basically if you can reach this part, then you're all good. And we have some tool really using once the state. So if we're using use state, then we can set the like variable. Okay, how can we keep the variable? So I would like you to try to do it. And how can you using a state to keep a variable? And then we have some function, set function. So we update the value. Okay. So set message and then hello, then we can change the message. So we will getting the message from here, and we using a curly bracket. And then once we on click, then we can change the way. So I would like you to try and like create a page. And props will be passing the value. So we can, let's say we have a greeting components, create another one, try to pass the name. So you see the props right here. And in our main function, if you want to create this, import it, and we try to pass the parameters, right? So kind of idea like function parameter with a name. So name is right here. So we dot the props dot name. Name is getting the same parameter. Okay, attribute. We somebody call it attribute right here, the name. So we get the value. Then this is what we need to do in this part. And then the next. Okay, moving on, then we will like more extend, and it's like we know JS is a component-based architecture. So it will be like reusable component, like for better maintenance, because we can reuse the function other page and a command we can call it. And then it's mainly the declarative syntax. So it can be easier about your application, and then it's mainly using the virtual DOM. So we can update and re-rendering. So once you change the content, we render it directly by itself. So you don't have to like refresh and care about the cookies, those issues. And it's have a strong communities and ecosystem. So rich set of tools and libraries. So it's advantage because in the industry, sometimes we have called the AngularJS. So it's like popular if you're looking for a job for like software developer, React.js, AngularJS, or nowadays in these few years, Vue.js is another one that's popular. So, but once you learn one of it, and it's pretty easy to pick up another framework. Okay, and mainly as what we say, we know that we have many building blocks from the application for the. So if we need to build a header, we need to build a menu, and then maybe the body, maybe slider, maybe content, put the list. So all these like will be built as a components. So you need to create a folder and then create like each of them, then combine them together. Okay, but later you will see more details, and then in the previous slides, I talked about the stage and pops, and then what's the life cycle, the host. So in different stage, we're using maybe when we do a bit low, then what should we do? Okay, and all these we call the like functional components. and they will return as a JSX with a XML. And why not is mainly is a ECS class, so class component, so the more features. And it will kind of like less common in the newer like code bases. Okay, so we kind of like this, and we call the XML like JavaScript XML JSX will be like we declare element and element pass the value. So we save it this tag. So this one is it looks really similar to HTML. So we are using those components, but we changed slightly the format architect structure. Okay, and the function component including, so let's say we have the welcome and we have post welcome who, and then when we pass the name, so with the post. So this one is similar to the part one. So recording, then you may try this part. And for the post will be the immutable data passed to the components. And for stage will be the mutable data managed within the component. So here's the difference. So if we're using stage, we can update. Let's say if you copy this part and create, and you can set the count. Okay, so we're adding the count every time. And if you pass it as support, then if you create another function and then show the count value, how many times, then you cannot change it. So here's the differences. Okay, and for the life cycle, including it's actually they are part of some including like mounting, so component demand, and then component update or unmount. So based on these like different life cycle holds in the function component, so we can use called the use effect. So you see we have function use effect. So if we did something, then we maybe perform certain function. Especially later, we try to fetch data from the server, API server. And all the function like passing to the OS will take it like put into stack and execute like one by one. Only problem if you're not using the life cycle method or using the use effect, then you always get the null return or null content because you're not waiting for the server to reply because it takes time. And when we just execute the next statement, then you didn't wait for the return value, then you cannot grab the return JSON file like this. Okay, so here later when you see my example, and also we have some called event. So those events including the like functions when we like, let's say we click on it and what kind of thing. So here would be the alert. So I would like to let you combine all the source code I gave you and try to add to your code. Okay, and another one is rendering list and the key. So when we get the value, so you see sometimes we pass the parameter, then how about we passing the a list value? Okay, so for the list value, then we can use the a mapping function. Okay, if we get a list where map function pass the value number, so they want we give a key, so get a number to string. Okay, save it as a string and then list the number. Okay, and here's the one example. And then once you return, so it will automatically like generate the list one by one. So you don't have to like type it by yourself. Okay. And what I'm asking for the assignment, you will based on this one. I would like to let you to try recommend it, encourage if you more familiar on the web-based, then you can do it like change more. If no, you can base on the function I gave you to create the form. Okay, so you need to create, what do you need to do? You need to create a new file, something like this, like similar to hello world, and then you can like return the form and then get the value and then list the value and then add some CSS file. So right here you see the app belongs to the CSS, but if I asking you, okay, please create a new file called form.js, okay, and then you can use I gave you right here. Okay, and then this form, and then you need to remember the structures like we import, what kind of things we need to import, and then export something right here. Okay, and you can reuse the React. So how can you import the value right here? Okay, so you can think about it and create the form. And this is your assignment, okay? And then later we have the React router for switching the page. Here's the ID introduced, and later I will give you more sample code so we can follow. And actually online there are lots of resources. So if we need to handle like routing from different page application, then we need to import from the router, route, and routes. Okay. So here the structure start with the router and give it the route. Okay. Maybe type it by default will maybe the home page and then about us, contact us. Okay. This one will be your later, but right now you just need to build a single page React project. And then for the next one is like once you're familiar with the single page, then you can create the route and switching those from those page. Okay. And we talk about the stage, and we do have some management library to manage this. Of course, we have the reduce and contact API or mode. So all these are okay. And we also talk about the hooks. So those will be the function we can use that for stage, and then some other React features we can use like without writing a class. So we can doing this one command use stage, use event, use contact. Okay. And we have something more, but we are not cover in just in the introduction. So if you are interested, you can look at and search. So there's some like server-side rendering, SSR, or static side generation. We can do it. And then remember, for these two parts is like how can do the code splitting and also error boundaries. Okay, so when you try to, maybe it's a habit, you try to put everything in single page, but it's a good it's better, and try to build a good habit to speed the code. Okay, so those code like if you create a manual single page and then everything, so you can even create a new folder. Okay, then to put all your content. Okay, let's say you have a home page and then you have multiple components, and then you have a about us page and then other components, contact us page, like this. And just like kind of like repeating again. So for your assignment you need to do, so just remember here I'm going to post like what you need to do. You need to create an input form, so using the React, and then create a function. Then as we mentioned, using host use state, and then handle the form input, and then apply some basic style page. So I give you, okay, and then remember take a screenshot and also save your source code and upload it. Okay, so here's a submission and zip the file. And because I mentioned about the app CSS, so and then with a header, later I will mention. So you maybe just reuse the source code I gave you. So right here I have the CS file. So I gave you maybe some related to app, some like counters. You can see a counter, different font size, giving margin for the buttons, like border, what's the color. So like when you put the mouse on the button, what's the color change? So here is, and then also the JS. So how can you import the JS right here? And you will see, okay, so how can we create a form? So here's the form, and I will let you to try, and I will recommend like right now this one is the how can you start it, copy the code, and how much you like get from this first assignment. Okay, so it's not really asking build from everything from scratch, but I already gave you all those source code. So you based on the source code I gave you, then you can modify and change it. Okay, so I wish you make a really nice form. Okay, so that's what you need to do as a first assignment, and then I will make it available. Then I will give you the time. So right now I recorded today, and I will give you less than 2 weeks. But if you need extra time, please let me know, and I can extend the deadline to you. Okay, for you. Okay, and that's it for this recording. Thank you.